Welcome to the Merch Minds podcast, where we discuss everything about the Merch by Amazon business and the print-on-demand industry. Here are your hosts, Glen and Yong.
What is up, everybody? Merch Minds podcast, episode number 15. My name is Glen. Yes, sir. My name is Glen with the YouTube channel, Hustler Hacks. And to my right, from parts unknown, listen along because his merch game is strong, Yong.
Dude, you should be a rapper.
You should be
a rapper, man. That was pretty tight. I have to say that was pretty smooth. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name is Yong, and episode 15, and today is Wednesday, January 18th, and I'm sure by now everyone has their payout published on their dashboard. So that's something that we're going to get into here shortly. But Glenn, how are you doing with your merch account, man?
Well, sales right now have increased, which has been good. I think the last time we talked, that was roughly like around 160 sales per week. Now I'm at about like 175 sales per week. So they have gone up. I did add 40 designs yesterday, and a little bit. I know we're going to talk about your sales and stuff, but this might take a little while.
No, that's fine, man. Get into it, dude.
I think I want to change. Well, I'm going to change the way I handle some stuff on merch, because I noticed that the thing it's probably the least favorite of this whole merch thing is the ideas. Like, I could spend hours researching ideas, trying to figure out what I want to do, making sure things aren't trademarked, going through the whole process. But I noticed that it also kind of holds me back a little bit. Like, when I'm full design mode, like, I'm ready to go, like I'm a beast. But when I have to find ideas, I'm like, oh man, like I'm held back down because like I have to research now. Now I have to go through this. How many ideas I need to come up with. And now that I have 40 uploads per day, it's going to really change the way, I'm going to have to tackle this. My old way was to, design throughout the week and then upload everything on Friday. I would upload like all the 100 designs all at once. So now things are going to change. So I was able to upload 40 yesterday, but I'm really going to change it to where I'm just going to come up with as many ideas as I can possible. Maybe try to get up to like 500 to 1,000 ideas, trademark checked, ready to go, and then I'll just be in full design mode so that I'll have those like ready to go 40 per day, and then I could just upload those every single day.
Okay, so what you're saying is then you're not going to be you can't be. So you can't upload 40 designs per day because obviously you have to do your research and design as well. But once you have about 500 to 1,000 designs, then you're going to start uploading, correct?
Yeah, I really want to get all of the idea stuff out of the way first.
Yeah, well, that makes sense because you have 40 per day, but technically to be able to upload 40 shirts per day every day for like the next month or even 2 months, I mean that means you're just going to have to be living in front of your computer just doing research and designing, and that's just, in my opinion, just impossible. So it makes sense. It sucks that you're going to lose those days when you're doing research and design, and you're designing, but you know what, at the end of the day, let's be realistic. Who in the world can upload 40 designs per day?
Yeah, I think that if I didn't have, of course, my job and YouTube and eBay and doing whatever else I was doing, I think it's definitely possible. But I do think that it will slow you down if you're coming with ideas, designing them, and then uploading them, and then starting all over again. That's like ideas, research, design, upload, and then it's starting all over again. But in this case, it's like, hey, I have a whole bunch of ideas. It's going to take me a long time, not a long time, but a good while to really go through all these ideas. I can make, different versions of it, certain design for the lighter color t-shirt and then another design for the darker color t-shirt, and then really spend my time and go through it. And then it, take me a good while to have to start over again rather than,
Well,
every other week or something.
But it also makes sense because if previously you were saying before all the before all the limitations and restrictions, you said you were uploading once a week, every
Mhm.
Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were uploading 100 per week, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So technically, you're just doing the same thing, right?
Yeah, well,
Except,
I would start all over. Yeah, except I would start all over, because like every Monday was like my research afternoon,
mhm.
and then you know what I mean. Like every week, I was almost like I was starting all over again with a new 100 designs. And to me, designing is like the fun part. So if I have all the ideas down, like I think I came up with like 700 ideas. I have
Mhm.
them. I researched them the last like 3 or 4 days. If I want to get to like 1,000, so then I could just go straight beast mode and just design for the next month and try to get as many t-shirts out possible.
And then just once you're done, just upload 40 per day.
Yeah, and just
Yeah,
have all
yeah.
of those because it's really going to change the way we kind of do things. So I'm kind of interested. Before we get into the numbers, what are you thinking about doing, Young? As far as like, because you're what, 3 per day?
Yeah, I don't nearly have the problem that you have. I mean, I wish I had that problem. um, but yeah, I'm limited to 3 per day. So far, it hasn't been a big issue.
Hmm.
But you know, but like you said, at some point when you're doing research, you do kind of run out of ideas, right? I mean, I have, sometimes I try to be really creative and come up with my own original concepts, and it has paid off on
Hmm.
certain occasions. But I would say a majority of my shirts have been inspired by other designs that I've done research on.
Oh, okay.
But so I mean, yeah. So for me, 3 per day really isn't a big issue.
Hmm.
Uh, and I've said this in the past where each design takes me about 30 minutes on average.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so I mean, that's 90 minutes, right? You know,
Yeah.
90 minutes in a day, and that's not a big issue. What takes up most of my time, and I think I speak for both of us, is really just doing the research. Just like what
Yeah.
can't we know? It's like what can I design that you know that hasn't been done already on Amazon, or if it has, it's not saturated, right? Just not
Yeah.
50 of those shirts already online. So that's the real. It's not even a problem. It's just something that we don't really want to do, right?
Yeah. And then I was telling Mike, Treasure Gnome the other day, I was like, I'm here like double, triple checking like trademarks. Like I guess I just want to be super, super safe when it comes to a lot of this stuff, especially when you're putting out because some of the people that we do have in our Merch Minds Facebook group, please join that, by the way. But anyway, um, but for the people that do have like tier of like 2,000, 4,000, 8,000, when you're cranking out a lot of designs per day, like, I don't know, like one or two might slip up, but it's just always good. I mean, just to be super, super safe when it comes to that trademark stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But but here's the thing. I mean, I've heard stories where, um, you know, at the time when they actually uploaded the design, the the slogan or the caption wasn't trademarked at the time, and then what happens is someone would come in afterwards, they'll trademark it. Now, does that count against you? Uh, as far as Amazon's concerned, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they will remove it. I just don't know. I mean, we'll never know about what counts against you, how many violations or shirts taken down you can actually have before they remove you. We'll never know, but I don't know. I can't say.
And that was actually one of the questions in our group was, if I recall, someone had asked, how many violations are you allowed before they remove you? And it's like Glenn said, we have no idea. I mean, I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I wish I did.
I don't know. But okay, so interesting.
Okay. What about your numbers for the week? How's it looking? What's going on? January?
Oh man, well, you know what? It's I'm kind of in the same boat as you. You know, my sales have been, they've been growing, surprisingly.
Good.
And there's one shirt that I've been selling like about 10 per day.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy. And here's the thing. It's not a new shirt. I've had this design up, for the last 3 or 4 months. But for some reason, in the last 3 days, I've been doing about 10 per day. And my sales rank currently, last time I checked, was at 32K.
Dang.
The BSR, it was 32K. And I know I sold a few today. And I couldn't figure out why. But now I think I do know why. And I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to give out the niche or anything, but I think I know why it's been selling. But it's just, oh my gosh, I mean, if it wasn't for that shirt, I think my sales are probably average sales about 5 to 6 per day. But lately it's been about anywhere between 10 to 15 per day.
Dang. So something must have changed that really got somebody's attention, because it didn't for the last.
Like I said, I couldn't figure out why, but now I think I do know why. And maybe I'll tell you in private here after the episode.
So the question is, are you gonna make any shirts based off of that now that one is selling, or maybe a shirt around that idea?
Probably not, and because it's. I just don't want to give too much away, man. You know what? This is something you and I will talk in private. I just don't want to give. I think if I say too much, people will figure it out. But yeah, so I'm doing about 10 to 15 per day, and I'm at 233 shirts. No, is that right? 233? Like 213. Oh gosh, here. Let me look at my dashboard.
Okay.
I'm at 223. Now, remember, last week I was at 205, but, I've been able to upload 3 shirts per day, so I'm at 223 now.
Okay.
I've already sold 3 shirts of one design that I uploaded recently, all in one day. That was crazy. But yeah, man, so I'm doing about anywhere between 10 to 15 per day. Currently, as of now, I shouldn't say this because every time I talk numbers, man, I don't ever beat my goal. But as of now, I'm on pace to do 2,000 for the month in royalty, which I think is awesome.
Okay.
And then we had our December payouts posted today in the dashboard.
We did have that.
Oh my gosh, man!
What happened? Talk to me.
No, it's good because.
Good.
No, because I was under the impression that, remember, my original goal for December was to do 2,000.
Okay.
And if you recall, I was telling you that I didn't meet my goal. That I told you I was short about $50.
Oh yeah.
Surprisingly, I exceeded my goal. My royalty for December was $2,043.94.
Dang.
So definitely met my goal for December. And it makes me wonder, if we didn't have all those restrictions and stuff, I mean, God knows what my numbers would have been, 3, 4, 5K. Oh my gosh. So
over $2,000, beating his expectations on that.
Yeah, no, that's that's the most I made up to this point. This is the most I made. Again, being Q4, that obviously helped, but that was my biggest payout since I started merch.
So what are you gonna do now that you're a rich man getting this $2,000?
I'm going to Disneyland. I'm just joking.
After the Warriors win, the finest?
I don't know. I mean, you know what? It's I always like to reinvest into the business, but at the same time, well, first of all, tax season's coming up, so I gotta put some of this aside
Oh yeah,
for
that.
taxes. And but I might take a little trip here and there. I love to
Okay.
travel. I love to travel. So I might take a trip sometime, maybe within the next month or so.
Okay. Maybe you reinvest 1,500, keep the 500 for yourself.
Maybe we'll see.
There you go. Well, that's good to
Well,
hear that you
yeah,
exceeded that, because I know we're talking about that for a good while. You're like, man, I really, really want to get to this 2,000. So now you
yeah,
have it in writing in the books, over 2 grand for the
yeah,
month of
yeah.
December.
So, so I was really surprised. What about you, man? I'm kind of oh man. I mean,
You're itching over there. What's going on? What's going
dude,
on with us?
I want to know what your numbers are like because I know you got all those T-shirt designs up.
Well,
Talk to me.
it okay. Good thing it was the highest earnings I've ever had ever.
hmm and I think that's the
Um,
case for most people, right?
yeah, I'm pretty sure. For my merch career, but
Uh-oh.
I did fall short of the 10,000.
Ah, those rat
I
bastards.
know. I know. I did fall short. But I am hoping that some of the last couple of sales, because they really declined like right after Christmas. Like during that last week of December, we saw that huge decline.
hmm
That we were talking about it, like it really just fell. So I was hoping that maybe that last week would stay somewhat decent to get me over that 10,000, but it didn't. But nothing to complain about.
No.
Gross earnings
Ah,
$9,874.44.
ah.
About
Wow.
$125 short
Wow.
of the 10 grand.
Well, dude, let me give you $120. So we can make up for that, and then you can meet your goal. Man, that is awesome, Glenn.
Yeah,
9K.
9K,
Dude,
almost there to 10.
dude, what are you gonna do with that money? Are you gonna get married?
Am I
Are
gonna
you
get
gonna are you gonna get married again?
again? Oh man, actually, you made a good point with the tax season, because this is the one month that like my tax guy was waiting on. He's like, "Well, let's see what happens that December," and I was like, "All right, let's see." But it ended up being like way more than I really originally thought it was going to be, because we kind of crunched the numbers in like October. We were really kind of already planning like, what is this tax thing going to look like? And then now that like really exceeded expectations. So I don't know. I think what I'm going to do with the money, not too sure yet until I see the tax numbers.
Of course, yeah. No, you definitely you guys definitely want to be safe with your taxes. Don't spend it all in one place. Just leave it in the bank and wait till you do your taxes first. And
Yeah,
but
and
that's
go from
awesome.
there. But if you have any money left, that you can really enjoy after tax season, reinvest into merch, get excited and build it up for 2017. We're barely in January. We saw some numbers already increase. That's
hmm
exactly what I would do, though.
So
Especially the money you
yeah,
have left over.
so I guess in a nutshell, just to kind of sum it up, it sounds like at least for you and I, our sales are improving.
Hmm.
Uh, even though there are some limitations, it sounds like our sales are improving. Um, we're slowly but surely growing, and which is good. Which is good. Now it's just a matter of Amazon uh, tearing people up, but who knows when that's going to be? I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think they're just too
Yeah.
overwhelmed. That's okay. I can work with what I currently have. 500 is not too much in my opinion, but once Amazon cleans out some of the designs that aren't selling, I can try and put up some new ones, and hopefully those are sell at a really good rate. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
And another thing just wanted to add in there is like when it comes to the ideas, I did come up with new ideas for this new set of shirts,
Mm,
but I'm also going through all of the ones that they removed, the 60-day policy that changed. So all of those that did get removed, I have the ideas there, and I'm gonna just double check, of course, on trademark. But I'm thinking of also just coming up with a new alternate design, and maybe that will help it too. Get a new, fresh eyes on it, new design, and the ideas are always there, so might as well reuse them and figure out how you can, get those designs to sell.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So
All right. Well, I forgot, man. Hey, one more thing that I want to share.
okay,
So I've been uploading some designs onto other print-on-demand platforms, and one site that I've been using is Redbubble.
okay,
And I'm happy to announce that I got my first sale
nice,
on
congrats, first sale.
first sale ever. Unfortunately, the payout isn't as high as merch,
Merch, okay,
but again, this is essentially free money in my opinion, so I'm not going to complain. So yeah, so it's been a learning curve, but it's not too hard. I think anyone can do it. So
okay. Well,
so
congrats to you,
interesting.
sir. And while you're designing for the, you can upload 3 to merch, just keep on designing more and more. At least you can even upload those, have them cross platforms, and then
Yeah,
those to
yeah,
merch. So
absolutely.
there you
So,
go,
but
win-win.
yeah, absolutely. So let's get into today's show. Okay, so we have a guest. Now this is someone who reached out to us way back when we first started the podcast, right
Mhm.
around October. He sent us an email and said, "Hey, this is a course that I made on merch. It's on Udemy. You and I were kind of skeptical about it, but then when we watched the course, at least in my opinion, I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
So I invited him to speak on the podcast, and you guys are going to hear from Mr. Dan Vega. Uh, Very good guy. Great course. It's a great beginner's course,
Hmm.
and he does go into a lot of he goes into a lot of stuff that we talked about in the past on previous episodes. But just a great course overall. I think either people can learn from it, especially if you're a beginner. And he does give us a discount code at the end, which we'll put into the show notes, and we'll get into that here real quick. Any any thoughts or comments before we interview Mr. Vega?
If you just want to let everybody know about the Merch Minds Facebook group real quick, and then we can go to the interview.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know by now, we do have a Facebook group that we started. Uh, I'll have that link in the show notes as well. Other than that, let's just get the interview started. All right, guys, this is episode 15, and we have a special guest, Mr. Dan Vega. Dan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the folks?
All right, so as you said, my name is Dan Vega. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I've taken a little bit different road to get to where we all are today. I'm a programmer by trade, and that's what I do during the day. And I love my city. I love Cleveland, Ohio. Whenever I used to speak at conferences, I used to end it with a tagline like, I'm from Cleveland, so I'm always upset because of our sports teams, but I can't really do that these days because we're kind of a little bit better around here in sports these days. So I'm really into sports around here, weightlifting, running, that kind of stuff. And I just really enjoy teaching and helping others. It's kind of always been a passion of mine. So that's kind of what led me to probably the last year and a half of my life.
Okay, well, wait a minute. So you're from Cleveland. Now, I just want to say I'm from the Bay Area here in
Oh, that's why I
California.
brought it up.
So, I just want to say last year when you guys won the NBA championship, it was all because Mr. Green was suspended for a game. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Well, if we go back 2 years, the only reason you guys won is because Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were out. So we're even there.
Oh, okay. I guess you're right. Yeah.
Oh, it's
We're
on
even.
now.
I know, huh? You know what? This show's over. I don't want to talk to this guy. I don't want to talk to this guy. But anyway, Dan, so we have you on the show because when we initially started the podcast, you had reached out to us and you shared a course with us. And this is your course, correct?
Yes, it is.
So short course is on Udemy, and you shared it with Glenn and I, and I was a little. I have to be honest with you. I initially I didn't really want to watch it because I know there's a lot of courses out there, and Glenn and I we saw a couple ourselves, and they just we were like, whatever. But your course, I have to say, it was really good, and it's something that I wouldn't mind recommending to others. So tell us about your course.
So, as I said, I've been a programmer for probably 20 years of my life, and it's something I've always loved to do. And I think early on in my programming career, I started a blog. I really enjoyed blogging because one, it helped me learn a specific topic myself, but I also really enjoyed like teaching and helping others who were kind of facing the same problem. That kind of led into a YouTube channel where I did the same thing. I created videos and try to help other people. And ultimately, I think a year and a half, about 12 months ago, 2 Black Fridays ago, I finally just said, you know what? I think I have something to offer others. Let me jump into this teaching space and see if it's something I can do. And so I've spoken at conferences before, and I felt like it would be a good transition for me to kind of help others online. And not only that, but also create a passive income for myself, just to create some extra money on the side. So I got into teaching because of a Black Friday sale on Udemy, and I threw together this course in probably about 2 months, and I really wanted to make sure like it had everything that somebody getting into a particular programming topic needed. And that turned out really well. And so that just rolled into another course and then into another course. And then I really got into the whole t-shirt business. And I said, well, I can also help others here as well. And I think there are always going to be more courses in a particular topic. And that's kind of a good thing. That validates that people want to learn that subject. And I think if you can always ask yourself, can I bring something to this topic, then it's worth teaching. And I just felt like my teaching style, the way I explain things, the way I don't skip over steps, I thought I could bring something to the space, and that's why I ultimately ended up creating that course.
Okay, so again, now, is it fair to say, and again, and I really enjoy the course a lot, and we'll have a link to your course in the show notes when this episode goes live. Again, there's a bunch of courses out there. Again, but I highly recommend yours. But at the same time, would you say it's more geared towards the beginner?
Absolutely. I think, and again, there are some other great courses in the community out there that I myself have watched. And again, I think, so my course, I think, is really geared towards the beginner who just is getting on the platform. Maybe it's not going to teach you everything you need to know about, Illustrator. It's not for that, but it's going to teach you everything you need to know about the merch platform and to get on and get started. At the same time, I'm someone who watches pretty much any course I get my hands on if it's about a specific topic, because even if I'm advanced in a specific topic, if I could pick up like 1 or 2 like cool little tips or tricks, like that kind of out, especially like on a Udemy course where you can get them for $10, $20, $30, then I think that's worth the price of admission just to pick up those 1 or 2 tips. And I've even watched other Udemy courses or merch courses out there. I watched Mike's just for kind of like the advertising aspect of it, of doing things on like Pinterest and Instagram. And again, you're never too big to learn something from somebody else. So mine's geared towards beginners, but I think you can really help anybody out.
Yeah, and Glenn, if you have any questions, you can jump right in. But
Okay.
and here's the thing. The reason why I liked your course, and maybe my opinion is a little biased, but you actually talk about a lot of the things that Glenn and I had shared in previous episodes, and I'm not going to mention all of them because it's just not fair for you to give out the tips and tricks from your course, right? I mean, if people want to learn, I mean, they should go ahead and get your course. Again, it comes highly recommended. You definitely get my stamp of approval, but you have a lot of tips and tricks that I recommend. And I know Glenn and I had talked about this in the past. So there's a lot of tricks and you actually talk about certain things that I didn't even know about. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity to learn new skills and tricks.
Well, I think, I think it goes hand in hand. I mean, I learn stuff from you guys all the time. So if I learn something there, I'm going to put it in the course. I think one of the things you and I are big on is I think all three of us actually are big on this, is making sure that your designs are stored somewhere in the cloud, because you don't ever want to be in a situation where your content is not available. I mean, at any time your computer can crash. So storing those, having a good storing mechanism, like how they're laid out on your hard drive is good, but making sure that if your computer dies today, you're back up and running in a few hours is really important. And we do touch on that in the course as well.
Well, I'm glad you're the one that brought it up, because that, again, I just didn't want to bring up a topic in case, I just don't want to give something away from the course. But yeah, so that's something that he definitely goes over, and something that Glenn and I had discussed is that you should always not just use the cloud, but you should also back up your files on an external hard drive. So, but yeah, there's a lot of information on there.
One more quick tip that we talked about, and I'm sure a lot of people do this, but I keep these journals. I don't know if you can see this here. I know everybody at home listening can't, but I keep these like journals of notes of like designs that I have thoughts of. Like if I'm, just watching TV or having a conversation with somebody, if I'm out and about, I'll put it in my phone and then put it in this journal when I get home. I have one where it's just strictly text-based, and then if I need to, I'm not the greatest sketcher, I'm not the greatest illustrator in the world, but I'll get home and sketch something out, because these are good ideas, and if you don't jot these down, you're gonna forget about them. So I recommend some type of way to keep all of these ideas, whether it's in your phone or in some kind of type of journal that you can come back to later and reference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point, because you can even go to the mall, Walmart, go into the store, something. There's always going to be somebody wearing a T-shirt of something. You're even all the T-shirts that I designed, I was like, how do I not think of that one? Or how do I not I didn't cross my mind for some reason, and I'm like, hey, that's a good idea, and and that's a good point to write stuff down, and keep that for later. But Dan, you have about 1,600 subscribers on YouTube. You have 14 or so different videos based on merch. And one of them being your December 2016 income, and you go about that. Can you tell us a little bit about your merch background? How did you learn about it? And I guess, were you excited about it? What did you think when you first heard about it? All of that stuff.
Man, I can't remember. I was actually trying to think of this before we got started here. I just cannot remember how I found merch. I know that it was a long time ago. It was probably over a summer that I first heard about it. And I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. And I remember it being geared towards app developers. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of into this passive income now. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it's just for app developers. I'm like, I'm sure we can make some T-shirts and throw them up there. So I signed up like everybody else, and to be honest, over the summer, I gear down a little bit. I'm outside more. We're in Cleveland during the winter. Our weather sucks, so in the summer I like to get out a lot. So I just kind of forgot about it, and then I think the very end of August, beginning of September 2016, I was like, let me just go request another invitation. So I logged in and I tried to request an invite, and it was, there you are, create your first T-shirt. And I was like, whoa, I didn't even get an email, and I'm approved. So I was really excited about that, and then obviously the wheels start turning. So I was on that tier 25 and just trying to kind of figure out the system. Had a couple rejected because I didn't really understand some of the trademark stuff right away. Yeah. And I think for the first month and probably about 5 weeks, it took me about 4 or 5 weeks to sell those first 25 because I was just still kind of new to it. And once I hit those 25, I think it just started hitting the ground running. I'm like, all right, this is viable. This can work. Let's just start ramping up and creating more designs.
Okay. And do you have a background in any other print-on-demand website or anything like that, or is this your first one?
No, this would be my first one. I've always felt like I was a creative person. Like I said, I was always into programming and and enjoying the idea of not having a step-by-step action to produce a result. So it's always like that creative part of the brain, being able to get you from point A to point B. And I just kind of always enjoyed that aspect. And I actually remember like wanting to start a t-shirt business probably like 10 years ago and looking into it and just going, to buy these $50,000 printers and set up a brick and mortar store, like it's just never going to work. And then this kind of came around and I was like, oh, this is great. I'll tell you what, I cannot draw for anything. If you ask me to draw something on a piece of paper, I cannot do that. But again, I'm good with software. I've been using like Adobe products for probably 15 years from my web design background. So it was pretty much an easy pickup for me.
So if you don't mind sharing, Dan, what tier are you at and what are your numbers like?
So right now I'm at tier 100. I hit 100 pretty quick into like October, and then they stopped tiering people up. So I should be at like tier 1,000, I think, by now, or very close to it. Actually, I probably like 50 shirts shy of 1,000 sales. And right now I only have 48 shirts left on there because I am still not able to upload. I'm like, the Great Freeze is still going on for me over here.
Oh man, that sucks. So I was under the impression that everyone had access to upload designs.
Yeah, and then I thought it was just me. I was like, uh-oh, like what did I do wrong?
Okay.
I found out like through the Facebook groups that there are definitely more people still not able to upload. And I wonder if it has to do with timing, because you guys were both earlier on. I was, September, August, so I'm wondering if timing is how they're doing it, like when you actually signed up, how they're letting people in.
Well, I don't think it's a time. I think it's just random, because I know there's people in our group. They're on the 25 tier.
Oh yeah.
And I remember them saying that they were able to upload during the first reinstating of the uploads. So
well,
so
that's the other thing. So now I'm like logging every day, trying to find out if I can upload and make sure my account hasn't been terminated yet. I mean, I have no reason for it to be, but you just never know these days. So
yeah. So are you just rotating designs out at the moment?
No, I can't do anything right now. So I had 100.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that makes no sense. I just
No,
you can't do anything.
So I had 100. I was maxed out at 100. At that point, I was rotating designs out, getting like, I got a few up for Christmas, ready to go for that. And then the freeze happened. And the 60-day rule kind of kicks in, and I lose some of those. I actually deleted 3 or 4 shirts because I was, when everybody was getting booted off, I was like, well, this one's kind of iffy. I don't want to take the chance. So I deleted a couple myself, and now I'm down to 48. But in the meantime, come back like November, I was working on this course. Then when the freeze happened, I just started working on designs. Got a bunch of designs ready to go in draft mode, so I don't have to like go through that process. And once I'm able to go live, so I got like 120 designs ready to go in draft mode. And then in the meantime, I stopped that, and I've kind of started working on putting my shirts and designs on other POD platforms.
Okay, so you mentioned other POD platforms. What platforms are you uploading your designs on?
So I see me and you are in a similar position, just starting out on like Redbubble. I threw some shirts up on Redbubble, and I got this email that I got a sale, and I was like so excited. I'm like, yes, I got a sale, and I look, and my earnings for that sale were 60 cents, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I need to take a look at this and see what's going on. So
I mean, what'd you end up selling that it was 60 cents?
It was just a T-shirt. But
it was a T-shirt?
Yeah, but I think what happens is they set, I think it was, the default there is like 20% markup. So if you don't change that markup right when you like kind of set yourself up, some of those you're just not going to make a lot of money on.
Yeah, because I just sold my first shirt yesterday, and it was a T-shirt, and I think my royalty was like $4 and something.
Did you change your like merchandise like markup to like 40% or something?
I didn't even know you can do that on Redbubble. I thought it was just a flat,
Oh no! So if you go into the settings for your account, you can change all of your markups or just like particular ones. Like say you wanted to get 40% on T-shirts and 50% on stickers and this and that. There's a place to do that in your account set.
Okay. And again, this is why, again, Glenn and I, we like interviewing people like this because I never knew that. I would have never known. I would have never known. Yeah, I didn't know you can do that. So interesting.
I've been looking at that, and obviously I pay attention to every other kind of platform out there. Some of the campaign style ones, I'm just not a big fan of those campaigns that have to go for 4 days and then you got to redo it. So I stay away from those. But I actually did start my own Shopify store too. So I do Shopify with the Printful integration to do the print-on-demand stuff. And I've been playing with that, and you can actually do like Amazon integration from Shopify now. So I actually sold my first one yesterday, or no, that was today. That is basically a lady's like tank top that I pushed from my Shopify store out to Amazon. So the margins there kind of suck right now. So I'm playing with that stuff to see if that's going to be viable as well.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I actually signed up for a Shopify store, and that's something that I'm in the process of doing myself. Now, just out of curiosity, and I've asked other people that's doing the same thing, but do you have a particular, is your Shopify store, is it a particular niche, or do you just have like a wide variety of designs?
So I actually started out with the wide variety of designs, like let me just sell everything that I design, but that doesn't really work because you gotta find a niche. So like my particular one is based on Ohio. So anything to do with Ohio, whether it's Cleveland, whether it's sports, anything that we can come up with inside of Ohio, that's our niche right now. And that's important because you want to, if you drive people to your website, you want them to like have a passion for what you're selling. So if they come there to buy a shirt that is kind of Cleveland sports related, they don't want to see like shirts about cats and dogs. They may be passionate about both, but you drove them there for a specific purpose. So why not keep them there with related content? Mm-hmm. So mine's very specific to that. And another reason I do that is because I'm starting to do a lot more Facebook advertising. And if you want to be good at advertising on Facebook, you really need to have like a specific niche that you can retarget. People that have come before and actually seen something but not bought something. And so Facebook ads in your Shopify store, if you get good at targeting, retargeting, and really just seeing what works as far as Facebook ads on your Shopify store, it can really work out. I've seen it on a low scale right now, and I'm hoping to kind of ramp that up here in early 2017.
Okay.
All right, nice. And I noticed that because I was going through, of course, like YouTube videos and all that stuff. You're December 2016. So if you want to talk a little bit about your December Q4 ride. Now, you told me that you weren't, I guess you didn't get to tear up because you were stuck at the 100. But, your numbers for having 100 shirts, very good. You want to talk a little bit about your December ride and everything going on with each?
Yeah, so I think I was around. Oh man, now I gotta look. I think we just had earnings posted. So earnings. All right. So for December, I was around $736.
Not bad.
And again, I think that's really good considering the fact that one, I couldn't upload, and you guys know this because you guys talk about it all the time. But I think the biggest thing that hurt me is when you don't have a lot of shirts up. And your most popular shirts aren't available. So I think my four best-selling T-shirts weren't available because they're either black or navy blue. And so for 2 weeks out of December, not only were my shirts not available, but the ones people were ordering, I had about 42 cancels, I think, in December.
Oh, man.
So those three things really hurt me, and yet I still came out on top. At least I would consider it on top because nothing, there's no overhead here. So I think, just little things like that make me, a lot of people get down about that stuff, and I really don't. I look at the positives, so I'm really excited about this year.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, no, it's no, those are solid numbers for December. So now, did you fall into that trap of just uploading 3 colors, or did you have 5 different colors?
No, I usually I do 2 to 3 colors. I don't necessarily. It's usually around 2 to 3 colors. It just depends on what I think looks good. I think most of my designs are for a black, navy blue shirt.
Okay.
And if they look good on a particular gray, then I'll put it on there. If not, I usually stick to 1 or 2 because we can't control what image comes up. I never want like some yellow or red shirt popping up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Glenn.
I just wanted to. Well, I was going through the course, and of course, I don't want to give away a whole bunch of stuff, but
please give it away.
Give it away.
One of the sections, though, that I really, really liked was Section 5, playing by the rules. What kind of advice, or let's say if you're a newbie especially, would you give to just make sure that you're not getting in trouble with trademarks? There seems to be like a thin line with trademark stuff that, I don't know, it seems like some people are really, really trying hard not to get, some content policy, some things against them, but yet it ends up happening. Any type of advice you'd give, especially for some of the newbies?
Well, I think going in, make sure you read the rules. Whether you take the course and learn that stuff or go through the documentation and read the rules. I kind of knew a few of them when I started, but I don't think I really read the rules. So make sure you read the rules and understand that you can't just put swear words on the shirt because you think it's cool. Knowing the rules is probably half the battle. But, knowing that stuff up front is important. But then just understanding the fact that one shirt is not going to make you a winner on this platform. So do not, if you think it's iffy, I stay away from it. Again, there are other platforms you can test that out on. If you're getting shut down on, say, Redbubble or any other Teespring or any of these other platforms for a particular shirt, then it's definitely not going to fly on merch. So maybe test it out somewhere else first. And like you guys always say, it's just not worth losing your account over one shirt that you think is the next greatest shirt in the world. It may be good, it may sell well, but it's not worth losing your account over.
Yeah, exactly.
And I hear people use the excuse, well, I see other people, using the, I don't know, like the Pokemon shirts. Well, just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean that. At some point they are gonna. I guarantee you, they're gonna end up losing their account, and you don't want to end up in the same situation as they do. So definitely a good advice. But you also talk about being able to purchase fonts. Something that Glenn and I are always trying to tell everyone: purchase fonts. I know a lot of people to this day probably still go onto the bootleg sites, which, again, you talk about people stealing your designs. At the end of the day, when you go on those bootleg sites, you're ending up stealing someone else's art. So please.
Well, I think another big thing with that is I know people that have done that before and just downloaded fonts from whatever, some type of site where you can download 1,000 fonts. And people are like, well, if I have to buy these, you know how much it's going to cost? And I'm like, well, you don't need 2,000 fonts installed on your computer to do these designs. Find a few fonts that you really like, and then find fonts that are going to be around your particular niches. If it's Valentine's Day or if it's Christmas, come up with Christmas fonts. Go ahead and buy those. But I don't want to sit here, to be honest, I don't need 3,000 fonts. Do you think I want to flip through 3,000 fonts to try to find what looks good? That's just gonna make my life worse. So find fonts that are good and that you like, and that's all you need. You don't need all these different fonts and pay for it. If somebody else put the time in, you are respecting their creativity and thanking them.
Of course. And with that said, Glenn,
and that's coming from a guy who used to download everything he could, every software, music in the world.
Oh gosh!
When I was younger, I did it all, and I've been there. But I pretty much pay for everything now. Just because
I bet you were probably Napster and doing all that. Oh my gosh!
That was me. Then I grew up and got a real job and said, let's take care of other people.
Yeah. But it's funny. It's funny that you said that about the fonts. I think, Glenn, I don't know about you, but I think 80 to maybe 90% of my designs, I probably use like maybe 5 fonts.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's like, like specific, maybe very niche t-shirt designs. I would have to go out and search and buy a new font. But yeah, I think maybe I use 5 fonts, like Dan said, maybe in like 80 to 90% of my designs.
Yeah, and even in like regular graphic design stuff, creating flyers and brochures, even when I was working at the university, we really didn't go through thousands of fonts. I mean, there's only so many that are really good that you really want people to look at it and be able to read it. That's pretty much your main goal when it comes to a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the
So,
things that, well, sorry, real quick, and one of the things that Dan gets to also when he talks about fonts is using Adobe Typekit, which is something that we literally haven't really covered yet either. But I thought that was a very interesting little section as well.
yeah. No, that was a good section.
It's a nice little tool, especially if if I have a couple computers here, and if you ever like need to just jump on another computer, if you sign into your Adobe account, you have those like fonts automatically. So that's a real nice feature that Adobe uses. They give you a bunch of stuff, but I don't use everything that's part of it. They have like a Creative Cloud where you can store a lot of your stuff as well. I don't really use that stuff because I use Dropbox, but they give you a lot of nice features with your subscription plans.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I normally do is when I purchase a font or when I download a font, I usually download it into the cloud, and then so that way it's on the cloud, and regardless of what computer I'm on, I can download that font onto that computer. Because most of the fonts that you purchase, they come with multiple licenses, so you can have them on multiple computers. So then that way again, I can download it to my other computers. So that's what I do.
We do the same thing as well. We both save all the fonts we purchase because I know there's going to be a day where somebody goes, I don't know if that design's legit. Where's that font license? I'm like, here it is. I have it.
Well, cool, man. Well, hey, I'm all done with my questions. Glenn, do you have any more questions?
I'm done on my side. I just wanted, I guess, give Dan some time to just, talk, I guess, the last part about it. I mean, it's over 50 lectures, almost like 5 hours of content. Like we said, it was really, really good for beginners. And I was talking to Yong, I was telling him, like, I think this is like the complete package for beginners to really know what's going on. And in our group, we have quite a bit of beginners that are kind of like, hey, well, what about this? Even in the getting started type of stuff, what to do about hiring a designer, finding a designer, or your own t-shirts. I told Yong, I thought it was just a great package for beginners. Anything you want to add on to that, Dan?
Well, first off, I appreciate both of you saying that. That's I didn't pay you guys to say that, so that's much appreciated. Second of all, I do have a special code here. So if you use the code MerchMinds, you can get the course for $15. So it ranges anywhere from like $20 to $50 throughout the year. Right now, you can get it for $15 with that MerchMinds code. So that's that. As you said, it's almost 5 hours, and yeah, I think it's just a good course for beginners to get you kind of excited that you don't need to be this top guru graphic designer to make some money on this platform. And not only make some money, but as you guys know, have fun. Like, I love like coming up with these ideas and working on these t-shirts. So anybody can do it. There's different ways for different people, for people with different backgrounds. So yeah, check it out. I'm always up for answering questions on that course too. This isn't something I kind of created and just kind of leave behind. I answer questions on there, and if there's other content that people want to see in the course, they're always free to ask, and if enough people want it, I'll go ahead and add it to the course.
Okay, yeah. So again, it's MerchMinds. That's the discount code. And how much is the discount again?
It's you can get the whole course for $15. Again, that's almost 5 hours of content for $15.
I think that's a bargain. Glenn, Dan, thank you so much for being on the show. Hey, but before we go, in case people want to get a hold of you, what's your email? If you have a website, your YouTube channel, yeah.
Yep. So first off, you can email me danvega@gmail.com. I also have a website, therealdanvega.com. And if you go over there, I have links to everything, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And you can pretty much find anything you need to about me on that site. And just before I go, I just want to say thank you guys so much for what you guys do, because you guys are providing a great resource to the community. And I love listening to this show, so keep it up.
Oh man, that's awesome. Thank you. Glenn and I, we just again, we say this. I feel like all the time, but we're no experts. We're just kind of sharing our journey as we try
Our
to
love
grow.
for merch.
Yeah.
If you guys were experts, you wouldn't be talking. People want to hear from real people, not people out there selling a pipe dream. So keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for being on the show. Definitely.